Good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon. Sit up, stretch a little bit. I'm always sit up and stretch. So by today, you should have one, read through the lesson, read through the writing assignment that's in Language Arts, Mod 12, and come up with one of the monuments or memorials that you want to write about. Two, you should have made a Google Doc or started on paper, right? Most of you write online, but you should have done that. Shared it with me, and you should have that started. Three, you should have started researching your memorial or monument and taking notes, and really important, making a list of where your information comes from. It's called a bibliography, or it can be a footnote, but you have to cite it. That's called citing. Cite means when you keep a list of where the information comes from. So when you write your essay, it doesn't sound like it's just coming from a 10-year-old kid. It sounds like it's coming from a 10-year-old kid who took the time to do research and really knows what they're talking about. You're going to want to keep that. The final thing that you should have done by today, or you should do today, is you should plan your essay. We're going to be doing this next week too, but as you do research, you need to know what to research. So maybe your plan is that in paragraph number 1, you're going to write about what is the monument for and where is it? Like, what is it exactly? What does it look like? What is the monument for? What does it look like? Maybe you'll break those into 3 separate things. What is the monument for? What does it look like? Where is it? You also need to talk about, why did you choose this monument? Why do you believe it is significant, is the word they used. Also means important, right? What about it is important? And, you know, the final thing is in the conclusion somewhere, you should include, why are monuments important? Why have monuments, right, at all? What do we need them for? What do they do for us? And maybe you'll have already answered that. So you could have a lot of paragraphs. You could have one on what does the monument look like, another one on where is it, how do you find it, how do you visit it, another one on what is this monument for. You should definitely include, if yours has some history, you're going to want to hear the history of this monument. Like if it's about a war, you're going to want to tell a little bit about the war. If it's about a person, you might tell about their early life. You might tell what are they famous for, and why do they deserve a monument. Or in the case of somebody like George Washington, you might debate, like, if a person lived in a time where everybody was pretty racist, everybody, and everything was pretty horrible in terms of that, then later on in history, we look back at that person and say, oh, they were a terrible person. Should we take monuments down? Do people deserve to be remembered if they lived in a time when things were pretty bad? So it's a big debate. Like, do we judge people based on what's going on now, based on the historic times, or the future? So that's like a big question. Like, men used to be really, really rude to women. When I was a young girl, oh, men would say things to me like, aren't you a pretty little thing? And will you run and get me some coffee and all that kind of stuff? And that was like super normal. Now, do we look back at those same men and say those were terrible men when all the men were behaving that way? Like, I don't know. So I'm not answering that for you. I'm just saying that might be an interesting one for somebody like George Washington, who had slaves, Thomas Jefferson, who had a lot of slaves and even had basically an African-American co-wife. So he had a white wife, and then he had a slave who was kind of like his wife, who he had a bunch of children with. So it's all very interesting. When you look at monuments, should they be forever? I don't know. Try to take this topic and make it interesting to you. So rather than just write about it like ho hum, I don't care. Don't write a so what essay. Make it important. So I am going to set up breakout rooms. I'm also going to model like how I'm doing my research in here. If you want to watch for a few minutes, I'll probably do it for about 5 minutes. And then if you have any questions, you can come and ask me about your writing. Do you have any questions right now before I get started? And does anybody need to be in a breakout room with a partner? Okay, so if you want to hang out and watch me do some research for 5 minutes, you can. If you feel like you've got this, you're on top of it, you know how to do the research, go ahead and go to your breakout room now. I'm going to share my screen and get started with some more of my research on the Vietnam Women's Memorial. So here's that writing mod. If you need to look at it, this week was all about picking your topic and doing the research. What makes a monument or a memorial important? Why do we make them? Which one speaks to you and why? Here's a bunch of them. Here's my Vietnam Women's Memorial. I'm going to open that page. There it is. Make sure I've got all that information. Activity, self-guided walking tour. Interesting. Is access via paved level trail. It sounds like anybody could go there. Oh, look, here's a picture of it. The statue. Oh, no, that's not it. That's a different one. I kind of want to see it. I guess this is it, but I want to see better pictures of it. I think I'm going to go Google like Vietnam Women's Memorial photos because I want to see what it looks like. Oh, look at that. I'm going to go to images. Probably going to want to include an image at the top of my report. Oh, look, here's like kids on it. Interesting. So there's some of the women who served in the war and some of the soldiers who were injured. I wonder if this is the sculptor. Oh yeah, this is the woman who made it. Interesting. Here's a picture of the nurses. I definitely want that picture. So I'm going to go open up my copy of my research thing and I'm going to insert a photo. Let's see how I can do that. Insert an image, upload from, search the web. And I'm going to search in here because it's easier to insert it. Vietnam Women's Memorial. There we go. Let's see what pops up. Oh, yay. There it is. Okay. Which picture do I want? This one shows people. I think this might even be the sculptor right by it. I'm going to put one of these pictures in. Which one do I like? Oh, that's not it. Let's go back to it. Well, I kind of like this one with the people standing right by it so you can really see it. But then I also want the women who are, did it not go? Oh, there it goes. Once it goes in, I'm going to shrink it down because I don't want it to take up the whole essay. I just want a picture of it. Is that even it? Oh, that doesn't even look like it. I'm going to get rid of that because I can't even see it. I'm going to do this one. Come on, are you going in? Boom. Creating image. I think I made 2. You have to wait a minute. There's like a big delay. You click on it and then you can shrink it. Well, there's a picture of it. I also want a picture of the women who fought in Vietnam. Let's see if that will come up, that picture of all those women who it memorializes, the 8 really famous women. I do not see them here. Let's go here. Try again. Women who fought in Vietnam. So you might have to, when you're searching, you have to use quite a few terms. Oh, look at that. So we want the American women because this is the women who fought in the war or served in the Vietnam War. Yeah. That picture is not coming up. Okay, if I can't get the picture I want, I can go back to where I had the picture, which is where? Here. Now I can take the picture. And sometimes you can just drag it to your computer desktop, and then you can go back into the document that you want, which is here, and then you can just drag it into the document. That worked a little easier. There we go. There are the women who are memorialized. All right. Do I have their names? I don't think I do. So I'm going to go onto another site and names of the women who are remembered in the Vietnam Women's Memorial. So you want to let your questions lead to new questions. Oh, maybe I did already copy this. It looks like I did, maybe. Names of these women are. So let me go back to my copy and put their names underneath their picture because that's kind of cool. That did not work. Let's try it again. Okay, let me re-highlight this. I don't know why. There. All right. Oh, there they are. There's the names of the women who are memorialized. And then I'm going to have to figure out why those women got. Oh, here we go. Library of Congress. So this is going to tell me more. How many women's names are on the wall? Oh, look at that. Vietnam Nurses Memorial Project. Oh, this looks great. Okay, so now I found a really good article to read through and take some information from, and I'm going to be cutting and pasting from this into my article and making sure, or paraphrasing it. So I'm going to read the first paragraph and then paraphrase some information right now. Remember that you can go to your breakout room at any time and start working on yours. So the history of the Vietnam Women's Memorial not only reflects the debate over the inclusiveness of the Vietnam Memorial, but also the broader struggles over who and what becomes part of the nation's public memory. Oh, I love that, because we've had tons and tons and millions and zillions of Vietnam memorials, but not one that does that. I love that quote. I might even start my essay with that as my hook, because I think that that's important. So now I need that website. So this website is Library of Congress blog. I'm just going to write that down. Library of Congress blog. So that's like an official government website. And I think I'm going to start my paper with that, like with the picture and then that quote, which is great. And then I'll probably start with a sentence like this: the monument or memorial that is in the National Mall in Washington, D.C., that I think is the most important is the Vietnam Women's Memorial. Okay, great. Now I need to come up with like 3 reasons. So I like this reason that it's inclusive. It shows women in the war, which aren't very often put in there. Like, of course, there are women in all wars, but they don't talk about them very much. So I need to come up with 3 big reasons. So I think the biggest one that I have for choosing that is it tells the untold story of women in war. Okay. What else do I like about it? I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Where is it? It was done by a woman artist. That's pretty cool. 8 servicewomen. I don't know why those 8 servicewomen are so important. I got to read a little more. Our monument memorials have often failed to represent complex gender, racial, and other diverse perspectives inherent in U.S. society. The removal of Civil War monuments commemorating the Confederacy, such as Robert E. Lee, continue to spark heated debate amidst a backdrop. So a lot of people are mad now that we have monuments to the people who fought in the Civil War, even if they were on the side of the racist people who wanted to continue slavery, and they want to take down those statues. Continue to spark heated debate amidst a backdrop of rising white supremacist activities and increased calls for racial justice. The installation of the Women's Rights Pioneer statue in New York, the first statue to depict women realistically, also proved controversial. When dedicated, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, later known as the Wall, honored those who died in the war. But it likewise incited controversy over who was represented. One group advocating for additional representation included the Vietnam Women's Memorial Project, which over the course of the next 10 years successfully fought for the inclusion of the statue. So it took them 10 years to get represented. That's insane. Okay, so I like that as a reason. So it tells the untold story of women in war. I'm going to go down to that number 1 topic and start collecting data on that one. So one of the things I'm going to put under that topic is this thing that I just copied. Where is it? What is it? So that might be my first paragraph, 1. I'm going to make this 2. 1, where is it and what is it? Okay, question mark. 2, it tells the untold story of women in war. So 1, I don't have much more information, do I? So I'm going to put number 2 down here and start on that research topic. 2, It tells the untold story of women in war, and people fought hard to get it included. After they made a memorial to the men, it took them 10 years. Here's a quote. This is from, oh no, that's not it. I want to go back and get my quote back. So I'm going to go back to my article and make sure that I copy that again, because I think that's an important point to include. There, I'm going to put it in quotes and put that it came from the same thing as up here, this Library of Congress blog. I'm just going to copy that and put it here again. So this is one way you can just cite it after you put it in. You could say according to the Library of Congress blog, or you can put it at the bottom like this where you tell where it came from. I'm going to stop my research now and stop the recording.